the year 3078, Earth had changed. The sky was no longer blue, and the cities were surrounded by giant junkyards. Massive fields filled with broken machines, old spaceships, and alien trash. Earth had become the galaxy's dumping ground. Max lived in Junk Zone 47, one of the largest scrap fields in the northern zone. He was only 19, skinny but smart, and worked as a scavenger. Every day, Max searched the metal mountains for anything valuable, old parts, batteries, tools. He sold them in the black market to survive. One evening, the sky above the junkyard turned red. A strange light flickered in the clouds. Max looked up and saw something falling fast. It wasn't a meteor. It was a capsule, metallic, round, and glowing blue. Boom! The ground shook as the capsule crashed into the far corner of the junkyard. Max's heart raced. "That's not normal trash," he whispered to himself. Grabbing his scanner and flashlight, he ran toward the crash site. The air smelled like burned metal. Sparks flew from broken wires as he climbed over piles of scrap. When he reached the crash site, he stopped. His eyes widened. The capsule was half buried in the ground, steaming. It was about the size of a small car, with strange alien symbols glowing faintly on its surface. It looked old, damaged, but not dead. He slowly walked closer. The scanner beeped fast. "Life form detected," it said. Max froze. "Wait. What?" He placed his hand on the side of the capsule. Felt warm. There was a small window on one side, covered in dust and cracks. Max wiped it with his sleeve and looked inside. It was a cold, his breath caught in his throat. On planet Earth. Inside, the wind howled outside the small house around where Jack lived alone. Her skin was pale blue. He was a simple man. Her hair white like trouble. She wore a silver piece torn at the shoulder, but that night she wasn't moving. Everything was about to change. Her fingers twitched. Jack was sitting in his chair, her eyes opened, drinking soft purple, and looking at the stars through his window. But the girl didn't move again. He heard a strange noise outside his door. But weak. At first, he knew he couldn't leave her there. Wind. Others would find her. He heard it again, and they wouldn't be kind. It was a soft knocking sound. Using his toolkit, tap, Max forced the capsule door slowly. His heart broke beating fast. Cold steam poured out. Who could be at his door so late at night? The girl gasped, her chest rising quickly. He walked to the door and listened. Her eyes slowly turned toward him. Tap, tap, tap. He opened the door just a little bit and peeked outside. She whispered in a soft, what he saw shocked him. There was a woman standing there. Max didn't understand. But she did not look like a normal woman. Why was she in a light blue? And her eyes were big and dark. He lifted her carefully. She was shaking with cold. She was light, almost in her arms. As he carried her back to his workshop in a thin, silver blanket. The junkyard looked at Jack with tears in her eyes. But something in the air had changed. She spoke in a soft, he reached his shaky shelter. "Please help me," under a broken cargo ship. "My baby." He placed the girl on a makeshift bed and checked her condition. "I can't feed my child. No wounds. Human." But her body glowed faintly in the dark. Jack was scared. Suddenly, he had heard stories about aliens from his scanner. The government incoming signal detected. Never trust an alien. Searching for lost cargo. Aliens are dangerous. ID. If you see X9 Beta, call the authorities immediately. Max's heart sank. This woman did not look dangerous. Someone was looking for her. She looked tired. He turned off the scanner quickly and sat beside the capsule. The baby in her arms noticed a small metal tag on the side. Its little hands reached up for its mother. No value, but she could do nothing. Experimental. For a moment, discarded. Jack did not know what to do. Max whispered. He thought about closing the door and pretending he saw nothing. But she didn't look dangerous. Something inside him stopped him. She looked scared. He remembered his own daughter long ago. Suddenly, when she was a baby. Sirens began to echo. He remembered how helpless he felt when she was sick. Stood up, alarmed. His heart softened. Red lights he opened the door wider. "Come inside. They're here already. Quickly," he whispered. "Before anyone sees you." The alien woman stepped inside, her hand holding her baby close. The light she sat down on the chair near the fire. Max stared in shock as his metal tools on the table began to float, and her hands were cold, just slightly. Jack looked at the baby. "She's not normal." The baby was very small and very thin. "But she's not a mistake either." And it was still crying. The ships got closer. Jack felt a pain in his heart. The alien girl began to whisper again in her sleep. The alien woman tried to smile, but she was too tired. Max took a deep breath. "Thank you, human." He had a choice to make. "You are kind. Run and save himself. My name is Lyra, or protect the strange girl from a world that had already thrown her away." He looked at her one more time. "I don't know who you are. Now my child will die too, but I think you deserve a second chance." Jack did not know what to say. As he locked the workshop doors, he was just powered down all signals. How could he help an alien baby? This was just the beginning. He asked, "Something big had landed in Junk Zone 47. Is there any special food?" And the universe was already on its way. "Only milk. My milk is gone." On my planet, we feed our babies with a special fruit, but I cannot find it here. I am so scared. Jack thought for a moment. He had some milk in the kitchen, but he did not know if it was safe for an alien baby. He decided to try anyway. He poured some warm milk into a small cup and gave it to Lyra. She tried to give it to her baby, but the baby turned away, crying harder. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "He won't drink it," she whispered. "He needs something else. I don't know what to do." Outside, the wind howled louder. Jack knew they could not stay near the window. If someone saw them, it would be bad. He closed the curtains and locked the door. "Stay here tonight," Jack said softly. "You are not safe outside. In the morning, I will try to find help." Lyra nodded, but Jack could see the fear in her eyes. She held her baby close and rocked him gently, singing a soft song in a language Jack did not understand. Jack sat down and watched them. He wondered how this alien woman found his house. Why did she come to him? Was it just luck? Or something else? He felt a strange sense of responsibility. Suddenly, there was a loud sound outside. A car stopped near Jack's house. Jack's heart started beating faster. Was someone coming? Did someone see the alien? He quickly turned off the lights. Lyra looked up, fear on her face. "They are looking for me," she whispered. Jack moved to the window and peeked outside. Two men in dark uniforms were walking down the street, looking around. Jack held his breath. Would they come to his house? Would they find the alien mother and her child? The suspense grew as the men came closer. Jack had to make a choice. Should he hide Lyra and her baby, or should he turn them in to save himself? The night was not over yet. The real danger had just begun. Jack could not sleep that night. Every sound outside made his heart jump. He sat at the edge of his bed, thinking about the strange events that had changed his quiet life forever. In his small living room, the alien mother, Lyra, was trying to calm her hungry baby. The soft cries echoed in the darkness. Suddenly, Jack's phone buzzed. A message flashed on the screen. "Alert! Be on the lookout for a blue-skinned alien. Dangerous. If seen, contact authorities immediately." Jack stared at the message. He looked at his closed door, then at the shivering figures near his fireplace. He knew hiding them was a crime. Helping an alien could get him arrested, maybe even killed, but turning them in felt even worse. He remembered his daughter's photo on the wall, her small face smiling at him, now just a memory. He could almost hear her voice in his mind. "Daddy, help people who need you." A soft sound broke his thoughts. Lyra was standing in the doorway, holding her crying baby. Her eyes were tired and afraid. "Jack, thank you for helping me," she whispered. "But we cannot stay long. They will find us. Humans don't want us here." Jack nodded slowly. "Why did you come to my house?" he asked. "There are hundreds of houses here. Why mine?" Lyra looked at him for a long moment. "Your house was the only one with a light in the window," she said softly. "Back home, a light means hope." Jack's heart ached with guilt and fear. He wondered how many people would help a stranger, even a human one. But an alien? It was almost unthinkable. Suddenly, there was a noise outside. Someone was walking up to Jack's door. Lyra froze in fear. Jack's hands trembled as he crept to the window. Through the curtains, he saw his neighbor, Mr. Dalton, an old man with a big nose and sharp eyes. Dalton was always watching, always listening. Jack forced himself to act normal. He opened the door just a crack. "Evening, Dalton," he said, trying to sound calm. Dalton looked past Jack into the house. "I saw lights on," he said slowly. "Heard a baby crying. Everything okay here, Jack?" Jack nodded, keeping his body between Dalton and the living room. "Just watching old videos," he lied. "Maybe I should turn down the volume." Dalton stared for a moment. Jack felt sweat on his forehead. Finally, Dalton nodded. "All right, just checking. Be careful, Jack. Strange things happening tonight." When Jack closed the door, he felt his knees shaking. Lyra was hiding behind the sofa, holding her breath. Jack realized something. If he wanted to help Lyra and her baby, he would have to do more than hide them. He would have to protect them from everyone, even his own friends. He took a deep breath. He looked at Lyra and made a decision. "We have to leave," he whispered. "It's not safe here. I know a place outside the city in the old woods. No one goes there anymore. We can hide there until I find a way to help your baby." Lyra nodded, hope shining in her tired eyes. "Thank you, Jack. I have nothing to give you, but you are saving our lives." Jack packed some bread, water, and blankets. He gave Lyra a warm coat. He turned off the lights, checked the street, and led Lyra and her child out the back door. The night was cold and full of danger. Every shadow could be a threat. But Jack walked ahead, guiding the alien mother and her baby into the darkness. Away from his safe, simple life and into a world of secrets and fear. As they moved through the empty streets, Jack noticed something strange. The baby in Lyra's arms glowed softly, like a small star. Its cries had stopped. Its eyes were wide open, looking at Jack with curiosity and trust. Jack wondered, for the first time, if this child was special. Something more than just a lost alien baby. The adventure was just beginning. Jack was no longer just an ordinary man. He was now the only hope for the desperate alien mother, her mysterious child, and maybe for something much bigger than himself. Darkness covered the old woods like a thick blanket. Jack led Lyra and her baby through the twisted trees, their footsteps quiet on the wet ground. The city lights were far behind them now. Every sound, the hoot of an owl, the crunch of leaves, felt louder in the silence. Jack remembered a small, broken hut deep in the woods. He used to play there as a child. Nobody visited it anymore. It was the only place he could think of to hide Lyra and her baby. They moved quickly, hoping nobody had followed. When they finally reached the hut, Lyra was shaking with cold. Jack helped her inside. The hut smelled of old wood and dust. It was small and dark, but at least it was safe for now. Jack made a small fire and gave Lyra some bread and water. The baby was quiet, looking around with big, shining eyes. The child seemed different now, calmer, more alert. Its tiny fingers glowed with a gentle, blue light, like the moon. Lyra stared at her baby with worry. "He is changing," she whispered, more to herself than to Jack. "Back home, our babies never glow like this." Jack tried to understand. He looked at the baby, then at Lyra. "Is it bad?" he asked. "Is your baby sick?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, I think he is special. Maybe the journey here has changed him. Maybe Earth is changing him." Jack felt a shiver run down his spine. What if the baby had powers? What if someone found out? The government would never let them go free. He thought about his plan. They needed more than just a hiding place, they needed a way out. Jack spoke softly. "We can't stay here long. People might come looking. Your baby needs special food, right? Something from your planet." Lyra nodded, her face full of hope and fear. "Yes, a fruit called Vala. But I do not know where to find anything like it here." Jack thought hard. He remembered the city's science center, a place where rare plants were studied. Maybe, just maybe, something similar to Vala grew there. But it was risky. The center was always watched. If Jack went there, he could get caught. Jack stood up. "I'll go look tomorrow," he said. "Maybe I can find something. If anyone asks, I'll say I'm collecting plants for my garden." Lyra's eyes filled with gratitude. "You are very brave, Jack. Most humans would run away." Jack smiled sadly. "I'm not brave. I just remember what it's like to be alone." As the fire burned low, Lyra began to sing a soft lullaby in her alien language. The baby's blue glow brightened, and the room filled with a gentle light. Jack watched, amazed. The song seemed to calm not just the baby, but Jack's worried heart as well. But outside, danger was growing. Back in the city, Mr. Dalton, the neighbor, knocked on a police officer's door. "I saw something strange at Jack's house," he said. "I think he's hiding someone." Police cars began searching the roads near Jack's home. Drones flew above the city, their lights searching every alley and roof. Meanwhile, in the woods, Jack tried to sleep. But strange dreams came to him. He dreamed of the baby's glowing hands, touching the trees, making flowers bloom in the cold night. He dreamed of men in black uniforms, crashing through the woods, shouting his name. Suddenly, Jack woke up. Something was moving outside the hut. He grabbed a stick and crept to the window. He saw nothing but shadows. He turned back to see the baby, wide awake and glowing even brighter. The baby reached toward Jack, and for a moment, Jack felt a warm feeling inside his chest, as if the child was sharing a message without words. You are not alone. Jack made a new promise to himself. No matter what happened, he would protect Lyra and her baby. But he knew deep down that hiding was only the first step. They needed a real plan, a secret plan, to escape this nightmare for good. As morning approached, Jack got ready for his risky trip to the city. He left Lyra and her baby hidden in the hut, heart pounding, hope and fear mixed inside him. Outside, the world was already searching for them. Jack had no idea that the next 24 hours would change his life, and maybe the future of Earth, forever. Sunlight pushed through the cracks in the hut's old wooden walls. Lyra sat quietly on the floor, holding her glowing baby. Every few minutes, she peeked through the broken window, searching for Jack's return. Her heart was full of worry and hope. Hours passed. The forest was still. Birds sang softly, but Lyra felt no peace. She remembered her home planet, where the sky was always purple and the air was warm. Here, everything was different. She felt alone, a stranger in a cold world. Suddenly, a sharp sound broke the quiet. A branch snapped outside. Lyra's heart raced. She grabbed her baby and held him close. Then, through the shadows, Jack appeared. Tired, sweaty, and out of breath. He carried a small bag. Lyra rushed to him, her eyes wide. "Did you find anything?" she asked, voice trembling. Jack nodded and pulled out some strange-looking fruits from the bag. "I went to the science center. I told them I was a gardener. I found these. They looked a little like what you showed me in your picture." Lyra examined the fruits. She broke one open and let the juice touch her lips. Her eyes filled with tears, not from sadness, but from relief. "This is close," she whispered. "Maybe it will help." She tried feeding her baby the fruit. The child drank the juice slowly, then stopped crying. His blue glow became softer, calmer. For the first time, Lyra smiled. Jack watched, amazed and happy. "Will he be okay?" he asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, for now." The hut grew quiet. For a moment, everything felt safe. But Jack had questions in his heart. He sat down beside Lyra, looking serious. "Why did you come here, Lyra? Why Earth? And why is your baby different?" Lyra's smile faded. She looked down, voice soft and sad. "I did not want to come to Earth. My people never meant to land here. We were running from war. My husband and we wanted peace for our child. But our ship was attacked. We crashed. My husband, he did not survive." Jack felt a sharp pain in his chest. He knew the pain of loss. Lyra continued, "We believed in friendship with humans. My husband once saved a human in space, many years ago. He always said humans could be kind. That's why I came to you. I hoped you would help." Jack's hands trembled. "Your husband saved a human?" he asked, voice full of surprise. "Yes," Lyra said. "A man lost in the stars. My husband sent him home. The man gave him a necklace with a blue stone." Lyra pulled out a small, glowing stone from her pocket. "He wore this always." Jack stared at the stone. He recognized it. It was the same kind he had given to an astronaut friend long ago, before his friend disappeared in space. Jack realized the truth. Lyra's husband had saved someone Jack loved. The silence between them was deep. Suddenly, there was a new sound, distant voices, the snap of twigs, footsteps moving closer. Jack's blood turned cold. "Someone's coming," he whispered. Lyra's eyes were wide with fear. "It's the searchers. They found us." Jack acted quickly. He hid Lyra and her baby behind a pile of old boxes. He grabbed a rusty shovel and stood near the door. Heavy boots stomped outside. Flashlights shined through the cracks. "Open up. This is the government. We know someone's here." Jack's heart hammered in his chest. He had to decide, would he risk everything for Lyra and her baby, or save himself? Lyra squeezed Jack's hand. Her voice was quiet, but strong. We are not monsters, Jack. We only want to live. Please, don't let them take my child. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every choice he ever made. The truth was clear now. This was more than helping a stranger. This was about hope, kindness, and the future of two worlds. Outside, the voices grew louder. The door shook. Would Jack open the door and betray the only friends he had left? Or would he fight, risking his life for a mother and child who were not even from his planet? In that moment, the line between human and alien disappeared. There was only one thing left, the truth. The door shook with the sound of fists pounding on wood. Dust floated down from the old hut's ceiling as the voices outside grew angry and loud. Open up. We know you're in there. Inside, Jack felt time slow down. His heart hammered. Lyra squeezed her baby close, her hands shaking, the blue glow from the child flickering in the darkness. Jack looked at her and knew. If he opened the door, everything would be over. If he didn't, they might break it down anyway. He searched the small room with desperate eyes. Was there anywhere to hide? Any way out? Then Jack remembered a trick from his childhood. Behind a stack of firewood at the back of the hut was a narrow space, hidden by shadows. Without a word, Jack helped Lyra and her baby squeeze behind the woodpile. He piled more logs in front, hiding them from view. The pounding on the door grew louder. Flashlights flickered under the cracks. Jack wiped sweat from his forehead and took a shaky breath. He opened the door just enough to show his face. Two officers stood there, their uniforms black and shiny, guns at their sides. Behind them stood Mr. Dalton, Jack's neighbor, his eyes narrow and mean. What's going on here? One officer demanded. Jack forced a tired smile. Just an old hut. I come here sometimes to remember my childhood. Is there a problem? Dalton spoke up, pointing a finger. He's hiding them. I saw lights. I heard voices. There's someone else in there. The officers pushed past Jack, shining their lights around the small, dark room. One of them poked at the pile of firewood. Jack's heart nearly stopped. But Lyra and her baby stayed quiet, hidden in the shadows. The other officer turned to Jack. We're searching every building near the city. Someone reported seeing a blue light in this area. If you're hiding anyone, Jack, you'll be arrested. Jack shook his head. There's no one here but me, he lied. His hands trembled, but his voice stayed steady. The officers searched every corner. The baby, sensing the danger, held perfectly still. Even its glowing hands faded to almost nothing. Dalton wasn't satisfied. He stomped around the hut, sniffing the air, as if he could smell secrets. But the officers were losing patience. Let's move on, one of them said. Nothing here but old memories. They stepped outside, but Dalton lingered at the door. He stared hard at Jack. If I find out you're lying, Jack, you'll pay for it, he hissed. Jack closed the door. His legs felt weak. He pressed his ear to the wood and listened. Slowly, the voices faded, the footsteps moving away into the trees. For a long time, Jack didn't move. Then, he quietly pulled the firewood aside. Lyra and her baby crawled out, pale and scared but safe. The baby's glow slowly returned, soft and warm. Jack smiled, relief flooding his tired body. But Lyra shook her head. They will come back, she whispered. They won't stop. We are not safe here. Jack nodded. He looked out the window at the dark woods. He knew she was right. Dalton was watching. The officers would be back. And the baby was getting weaker. Its glow flickered with every breath. It was time for a new plan. Hiding was no longer enough. They needed to run to find somewhere safe before the door was kicked down for good. That night, Jack packed what little food and water they had. He wrapped the baby in warm blankets and covered Lyra with an old coat. Before sunrise, the three of them slipped quietly into the woods, shadows in the first light of dawn. As they left the hut behind, Jack felt a strange mix of fear and hope. They had escaped for now, but danger was all around them. And somewhere, Deep in the dark forest, something else was watching. A pair of glowing eyes, not human at all. The real chase was just beginning. The sky was still dark when Jack, Lyra, and her baby hurried through the forest. Every branch that snapped under Jack's feet sounded like an alarm bell in the silent dawn. Behind them, the lights of the searchers cut through the trees, growing brighter as they closed in. Jack led the way, pushing through bushes and climbing over fallen logs. Lyra followed, her baby pressed close to her chest. The child's glow was nearly gone, only a faint blue light showing the way. Lyra whispered to the baby in her language, desperate for comfort. They reached a rushing stream and stopped. The cold water blocked their path. Jack looked at Lyra. "We have to cross," he whispered. "They're getting closer." Lyra nodded, her eyes wide with fear and trust. She stepped into the water first, holding the baby high above her head. The icy stream bit at her legs, but she did not stop. Jack followed, shivering as the water climbed to his knees. On the other side, they stumbled up the muddy bank, breathless and cold. Jack looked back. The searchers' flashlights were moving quickly now, sweeping through the trees. He knew they had only minutes. Suddenly, the baby began to cry. A strange, soft sound, not quite human. As the sound grew, Jack saw something impossible. The baby's hands lit up, brighter and brighter, blue light shining through the dark trees like a beacon. Lyra gasped. "He's never done this before," she whispered. Jack turned to see the flashlights turning their way. He felt panic rising, but then he noticed something else. The light from the baby's hands seemed to bend around them, making the shadows grow thick and deep. The forest itself began to blur, the trees shimmering in the blue glow. The searchers' voices faded. Their flashlights spun in confusion. Jack realized the baby was hiding them, somehow making them invisible to human eyes. "Don't stop," Jack urged. "Keep moving." They ran through the glowing woods, moving fast and silent as ghosts. The world outside was a blur of shadows and blue light, but the searchers were lost behind them, their shouts growing faint and hopeless. At last, the light faded, and the forest became normal again. Jack, Lyra, and the baby stopped in a small clearing, gasping for breath. For a moment, there was only silence. Lyra hugged her child, tears streaming down her face. "He saved us," she whispered. "My baby. He has a gift." Jack stared at the child in awe. He understood now this was not just any alien baby. This was something new, something powerful. Suddenly, a new sound broke the silence. From the trees, a shadow moved. A tall, thin figure, not quite human, but not like Lyra either. Its eyes glowed softly in the dark. Lyra stood up, frightened but hopeful. "Who are you?" she called. The figure stepped forward. In a gentle voice, it answered, "I am from a hidden group. We have watched humans and aliens both. Your child's gift has called to us." Jack felt fear and hope crash together in his chest. Were these new friends or a new danger? The figure nodded at Lyra. "Your baby's power is rare. He can bridge the worlds. But you are not safe yet. Come with me. I can help you escape, but you must trust me." Jack looked at Lyra. She nodded. There was no other choice. The strange figure led them deeper into the woods, away from the searchers, toward an unknown future. Jack held on to hope. Maybe, just maybe, this escape was the beginning of something greater for Lyra, her special child, and for all humans and aliens who wished for peace. A golden sunrise was breaking through the trees as Jack, Lyra, her glowing baby, and the mysterious guide moved deeper into the hidden heart of the forest. Every step took them further from the world they knew, and closer to the unknown. Jack felt his heart pounding, not just with fear now, but with something new, hope. He looked at Lyra, walking bravely beside him, and at the baby, whose blue light was soft but steady. The guide moved quietly ahead, leading them down a path Jack had never seen before. Finally, they reached a secret clearing. Strange flowers grew here, shining with gentle light. In the center stood a tall silver machine, part ship, part shelter, nothing like Jack had ever seen. The guide turned to them. "This place is safe for now," he said. "But you must decide quickly. The humans are still searching. If you want a new life, you can leave Earth. Or, you can choose to stay and try to build peace here." Jack looked at Lyra. "What do you want?" he asked softly. Lyra's eyes were full of tears, but she smiled. "I want my child to live free. I want to trust, even after so much pain. But I don't know what is right." Before Jack could answer, a distant shout echoed through the trees. Flashlights glimmered between the trunks. The searchers had found their trail again. The guide pressed his hand to the machine. A doorway slid open, revealing a warm, glowing space inside. "There is no more time. Decide now." Jack knew this was the hardest choice of his life. If he went with them, he might never see his world again. If he stayed, he might be caught, and so would Lyra and her baby. He looked at the child, who reached out a tiny hand. As Jack touched it, a wave of peace and understanding filled his mind. He saw visions, humans and aliens living together, building new cities, learning from each other. He saw a future where kindness was stronger than fear. Jack turned to Lyra. "Go, take the chance. You and your baby deserve a new beginning." Tears rolled down Lyra's cheeks. She hugged Jack, whispering, "Thank you for everything. You saved us, and maybe you saved both our worlds." The guide helped Lyra and her baby into the ship. The baby's glow brightened, lighting up the whole clearing. For a moment, Jack felt all his fear melt away. The door closed. The ship hummed softly, rising into the air. The strange flowers bent in the wind. In a flash of blue and gold, the ship disappeared into the sky. Jack stood alone in the clearing, watching the morning sun rise. He was no longer just an ordinary man. He had risked everything for hope. As he walked back through the silent forest, Jack knew the story was not truly ending. He would tell the world what had happened. Maybe one day humans would listen. Maybe one day the world would change. But for now, a new beginning had already started, one small act of kindness at a time.